Yeah, boy, it's September 9th, and it's episode 89, and this is the Fantasy Football Auctioneer. I'm your host, Uncle Buckets. The Fantasy Football Auctioneer is the official podcast of the fantasyfootballauction.com, the internet's only website dedicated to fantasy football auctions. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/fantasy football auctioneer, or follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We are at Fantasy Auction. We've got a great show for you tonight. Tonight we're going to take a look back at week 1 of the 2014 season, and then we're going to look ahead at week 2. We're going to get you ready for your waiver moves, your roster submissions, and lots more. But of course, our experts, they're always here. He's coming off a big win over his brother in week 1. Slim, did you rub it in his face a little?
No, not really. I didn't really have to. It was a bad Sunday for him. I was beating the crap out of him already in it. By the time the Niners-Cowboys game kicked off, and then that started off really messy for him, so we kind of quit corresponding. He was actually on a trip, too, so maybe that helped, too. But whatever. We were texting back and forth. He landed and got off his flight just in time to watch the game, and wasn't happy with what he really saw, and then he actually came back though a bit last night. He had Calvin Johnson, who had a huge game.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
it made me sweat a little bit for a while, but yeah, still pulled it out.
Well, I pity anyone that that had to play against Mega or Julius Thomas. And I found myself
I got
playing
crushed in our
Julius
dynasty because of that too.
Yeah, no kidding.
Big lead evaporated to a beatdown for me in short order because of Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, it was an interesting week. So let's go into Blister. He's coming off a narrow loss to yours truly, thanks to Matt Ryan. Blister, I know that's not the only league you're in. How was your week 1?
It's a roller coaster ride of emotion, Uncle Buckets. It was, we started watching with the draft on Thursday night. Things were feeling pretty good. Game went kind of how I expected in Seattle there. I watched the first quarter more. Things are rolling right along. Just Gronk gets a touchdown. Everything's great. I think, okay, fine. I'm going to take the kids out for this train ride that's happening. So we go do this little picnic thing, and it's a nice day. It's a beautiful day, and everything's going wonderful. And then I come back from the train ride / picnic to find utter chaos and turmoil has happened in the NFL, and every team I've picked to win has lost. Most of my starters on many of my teams have been dragged off on a cart because they're hurt. Man, was that ever shocking. I couldn't believe it. I had some comfortable leads. Like you say, in all my fantasy pools looked like untouchable. And then I'd run into Julius Thomas on a team. And then I'd run into Megatron or Matt Ryan, who had a career day. So it was one of those weeks where I had, in many pools, I had one of the highest scoring teams, but lost. 12-team league, be second or third in scoring, but lose my head-to-head matchup that day. That's kind of hard to believe. It was unbelievable. Like, for example, we got the ECL Dynasty League. We
had it in the bag.
We had a 30-point lead, and we're out of players, and all the guy has left was Megatron. And in this scoring system, Megatron got 40, and we lost by 10. So,
Bernard Pierce helped out too, eh?
What a douche, Bernard Pierce. Oh, man. I can't believe we talked about him last pod. We said, I think we got to start him. He gets a half point per carry. But he ends up getting us -1 point because he goes out, fumbles right away, and gets showed the bench. So, it was a tough goal this week. Tough goal.
It's all right. We'll rebound. It's only week 1. It's only week 1.
We have
don't need to. We're all right. We're all right. Okay. So before we get more into week 1, guys, if you're ready, then I'm ready. Let's cock the hammer. It's time for action. So like I said before, we got a great show for you tonight. Tonight we're going to recap week 1, and we're going to look forward to week 2, talk about waiver wires, roster submissions, all that type of stuff. But before we move on, let me tell you that tonight's episode is brought to you by the daily fantasy football action at fantasysports4u.com. Head on over to our website, thefantasyfootballauction.com, and click on the FS4U banner. Enter the referral code AUCTION, and you will receive a 100% match on your first deposit of up to $50. This match is not a bonus like the other sites that only trickle in at 4% of your entry. This is treated as cash. you will have double the money to play right away. So why not try the free roll, the $50 free roll? One of our fans, Eric McRae, at EJ McRae 4327, that's a mouthful as we said before, tweeted us and said, thanks a lot for the heads up on the podcast about fantasy sports for you. He had a great free roll, hashtag playing on house money. So one of our listeners last week won the $50 free roll, signs up, gets a free $50 for winning that free roll. So head on over to our website, thefantasyfootballauction.com, click on the FS for You banner, enter the promo code auction, and use that 50% match. Now you can try daily fantasy football for free. Learn for free if you play the free roll. Learn how to play, grow your bankroll just like Eric did. Use your fantasy knowledge and have some fun while you're at it. So click on our banner at the website and enter the promo code auction today. All right, we haven't done an advertisement for a long time, guys. Let's get some things rolling. Let's get into our first segment called We Just Got a Letter. All right, we just got a letter or tweet from our old pal at Felkbird. He asked the question, and Slim will let you answer it. His question is, going forward, who is the Saints / Ravens / Dolphins / Browns RB you want to own? Go.
Well, I'm going to start with avoiding the Saints because I still don't know which back I really want to own there. But, I mean, right now, as far as the Ravens go, I'm still going to go with Pierce. We'll get into it later. There's other guys definitely to look at there, but I'm going to give Pierce a couple more weeks to see how this goes. The Dolphins, I've kind of been saying it all along. I always thought Moreno would end up kind of taking over this job, and I didn't expect it to happen in week 1. I thought he would take him a little while. He came in out of shape. He had knee surgery, but he looked good. And so Marino's still the guy I want. And Terrence West, I'm still going with him, even though Crowell had a good game. I still think West is kind of going to be a better every down back this year. But, I mean, Crowell's a talented guy, and he's definitely going to be breathing down his neck. But I'm still going to go with West.
All right. Blister, let's have the next question go to you. At DA Myers 10 asks, heading into week 2, Garcon or Wallace, first of all? I don't know. Let's assume it's PPR because that's the new standard. Go.
Yeah. Well, I wish I would have looked at those questions. They didn't come up on my iPad. I looked at them, so I just pulled them up on the other one.
I don't know.
I don't know. I did the rankings so fast I didn't pay attention to those either, but that's not good, eh?
No.
Well, you don't give us time.
Give me your gut, and I'll tell you your ranking.
So, I got him somewhere here. I just can't read it. The writing's too small. You know what? I like Wallace probably a little bit better. I just think the play of Tannehill has been a little more steady. They're going into Buffalo divisional game. Buffalo coming off a big win on the road. But I think that Dolphins team is maybe a little bit more well-rounded. They got a good defense playing for them right now. They really kind of manhandled Tom Brady and the Patriots, so I think they could get the ball again in some good field position. But I think I like Garcon. He's on 99% of my teams probably, and I probably got him ranked higher right now based on I have a Wallace
at 31, Garcon at 18.
Yeah, well, that's just doing it too rushed. I'm gonna have to go through that a little bit better and a little bit slower.
Right.
But I don't. Yeah, we gotta get these ranks up more than 20 minutes before the pod from now on, so that I have time to do this with some thought and some time instead of rushing.
There's not a lot of time doing it on Tuesday. It's
no, not
tight.
after the Monday nighter. And stuff,
anyways,
but
continue.
I'll have to do that. Anyways, but going through this again, I'll try to get to these and touch up the rankings. But I do like Wallace a little bit better just based on his quarterback play. And then as far as the other half goes, Gore.
Yeah, well, the second question is Gore or Vereen.
Again, I'm going to go with Gore. I mean, Chicago's coming in there. I think that the going on the road, I think San Fran's going to play tough at home, home opener. So I think Gore has a good game against the Bears, and Vereen. It's just such a I don't know, that New England puzzle, it's always a puzzle, right? You don't know, one game Vereen's going to be huge and have a couple touchdowns, and the next game you don't know what's going to happen. So it's really hard to say. Minnesota is going to play surprisingly tougher D than what kind of probably a lot of people expected, but their new head coach is defensive minded, and you really saw what they did on the road against St. Louis. Not that St. Louis has a great offense, mind you, but St. Louis is supposed to have a great D, and Minnesota really clobbered them. So I think Vereen, the situation there is too scary. I think Frank Gore is a safer play.
All right, there it is. So you can tweet us at Fantasy Auction. You can email us at footballauctioneer@gmail.com. You can leave comments on the website. We'll answer them there. Or on the Facebook page, it's facebook.com/Fantasy Football Auctioneer. So there's lots of different ways to get a hold of us, and we'll answer your questions. Let's move on to segment number 2, guys. This is where we take a look at the fantasy football news. We call this one Fantasy Football News, Buy or Sell. So there's one particular NFL news bit that has been all over the wire, I guess, and it's even probably Nancy Grace is even talking about it tonight on CNN. It's the Ray Rice story, and we could sit here and talk about our opinions about the Ray Rice story, but fantasy implications are obviously you're dropping him. So as far as we're concerned, case closed on that. We'll let the criminal lawyers deal with the rest of it. Anything you want to comment on, guys, about that, or should we move on?
No comment.
No comment.
Yeah, I'm not going to spend. It's been talked about enough, and I mean, it was just an ugly, stupid situation, and whatever. NFL butchered it, and we'll move on.
All right. So fantasy football news, buy or sell, is when we talk about headlines and we ask our experts whether they're buying or selling that headline. So the first one here is Andre Ellington's foot injury, quote-unquote, can't get worse. Cardinals head coach Bruce Arians believes that knowing that his foot injury cannot get worse is important to help running back Andre Ellington play through the pain. So Ellington had a decent day, guys, 53 yards on 13 carries, and he also had 5 catches for 27 yards in week 1 while he dealt with the foot issue. So, Blister, buy or sell? Is there nothing to worry about, or is there anything to worry about, I guess? Is there nothing to worry about? Good English. Is there anything to worry about with Ellington?
I buy that there is still something to worry about.
Yeah, sorry.
I guess I'd say yes, I buy that there's still something to worry about. I would sell that there's nothing to worry about. I mean, this foot injury is going to be, you see these other guys that have these nagging injuries that go away and they play through them. They're just not quite themselves. They don't maybe perform at the 100% level that you want them to or expect them to prior to the draft. It is amazing that he was playing when, 2 days before that, they thought he could be out 4 to 6 weeks, might need surgery, could be long term.
He looked explosive too. I mean, he had spring in his step. He was going.
Yeah. He looked pretty good. I mean, still putting up, he put up 8 fantasy points in standard and 13 in PPR. That's not bad. If he would have got in a touchdown, he's into the end zone. I mean, he would have been right up there hovering around that 20-point mark. So, I mean, you have to roll with them. The thing with him is the backs behind him don't really scare you. So if he's on the field and he's going to get 18 touches like this or more a game, he's a guy that can still get you the double-digit fantasy points. So you got to keep him in your lineup, I think. All
right. So, Slim, let's go to you. Chiefs activate Dwayne Bowe, who is eligible following his 1-game suspension, and he will make his 2014 debut Sunday at Denver. Slim, buy or sell? Bowe will be a wide receiver 3 this week.
I'm going to sell. I think he can be close. Like he's borderline low-end wide receiver 3 to me this week, but I don't think he quite gets there. But if you're in a pinch, to me he's not a bad play. So, yeah, I just don't think he quite gets there.
Okay. Blister, next one to you. The headline is, did Doug Martin get benched? So we saw that there was a quote-unquote minor injury, according to Lovie Smith. Doug did go down with a minor injury, and we had to make a change. And from there, he was able to come back, and he was ready to go. But then we saw that Bobby Rainey kind of gave the team a little bit of a spark, so they stayed with Rainey. So Martin, Blister, only ran the ball 9 times for 9 yards in the loss to Carolina. Blister, buy or sell. The muscle hamster got benched yesterday or Sunday.
I buy that. I know they weren't. Before Charles Sims went down, the big talk was that things aren't looking good for Doug Martin. The coaching staff didn't draft him. If he struggles out of the gate, they probably won't take long to switch things up. And then he had a couple good turns of fortune when Charles Sims will be out now for 10 weeks or whatever it will be still, and they made the trade with New England and everything. All signs are pointing up for Doug Martin, and then he goes out and gets 9 yards on 9 carries. So I'm pretty sure that the coaching staff, their new staff, they need to find success, and that 1 yard per clip, that's not going to do it. So I would say, yeah, I buy that. He got benched, and if he doesn't play better going forward, he's going to see fewer and fewer snaps every week.
All right. Well, speaking of fewer snaps, Slim, let's go to you. LeGarrette Blount only played in 6 snaps on Sunday. So that was 50 fewer than Le'Veon Bell, who played in 56, obviously. Blount did rush for an 8-yard touchdown, but his usage was much lower than what we all expected heading into week 1. So Slim, buy or sell? This settles it. Blount is waiver wire fodder.
I guess for now I'm buying that. I still think his involvement can increase. Especially with Bell's, I don't want to say injury history, but he was banged up last year. Something like that could very well happen again, and if that happens, he's probably going to get more touches. So until that happens, though, I think we're not going to see too much of LeGarrette, except for maybe in some very special situations, like super short yardage, things like that. But Bell looked good catching the ball out of the backfield. He looked decent running it. So yeah, I don't see Blount getting too much action until something else happens here.
All right. Moving on, Blister, the last one on fantasy football news, buy or sell. Michael Floyd looks like the Cardinals' #1 receiver. Looks like the passing of the torch from Larry Fitzgerald to Michael Floyd may have already happened, Blister, last night. Floyd looked like Carson Palmer's go-to guy. He had that 63-yard catch in the first quarter, and then in the game-winning drive, he had the diving 16-yard reception on a 3rd and 8 play. So he finished with the team-high 119 yards on 5 catches last night. Blister, buy or sell? Floyd will be a wide receiver 1 moving forward into week 2 and maybe even beyond.
I buy that. I don't think one of the things that was, a couple of signs they threw the ball. There was 11 different receivers that caught a ball from Carson Palmer last night, and Larry only had the 1 catch. Floyd only had 7 targets, which isn't, it's not a lot. No, but he made 5 grabs and made the most of them. He's that good of a player. I just think there's going to be games still where Larry Fitzgerald, he has a 7 or 8 grab game and a couple scores. He's going to have those games. Potentially, too, with the defenses shifting more of their focus on Michael Floyd, Larry might end up finding himself in single coverage more often as the season wears on, and he might be the guy getting more targets. I don't think they didn't look Larry's way as much as normal. I just think that he wasn't. They looked for the open man, and Floyd was getting the separation last night and getting himself open. But I don't think Larry is done yet. I just think that overall, Floyd will probably have the better year. But I think that if they spread the ball around as much as they did, it'd be nice to see them concentrate a little more on him and jack that number up higher. But definitely #1. He's got the talent, he's got the youth, he's got the speed, and I think he's going to be a guy who's still really cheap in a lot of daily sites as well. Fantasy Sports for you, he's only $4,000, so compared to probably a 30,000 Megatron. So there's a guy that you can plug in into your lineups and get some quality fantasy points out of him too.
Yeah, great value. I did notice yesterday some of these fleet of foot quarterbacks too. Carson Palmer making things happen with his feet.
30 yards.
Matthew Stafford rushing touchdown and a couple of scrambles there. Peyton Manning even had some rushing yards on the weekend. So interesting. I mean, it's all about the rushing quarterback, right? So.
They're tearing it up right now. Yeah. That was I think that was Carson's most rushing ever. I think so, and he's not getting any younger. I wish Tom Brady could move move out of the pocket once in a while and
oh boy,
complete a pass
he's gonna
longer
have
than
to start
6
moving out of the
yards.
pocket if that's the.
I'm so tired of that shitty offense that every pass is like under 10 yards, I think. It's just dink and dunk, and they get nowhere. I complained about this for 3 years now on the podcast, and nothing's changed.
Yeah.
So I quit liking them. Maybe I will wear a Vikings jersey on Sunday.
Nah, I am. I'm
it.
wearing an AP because he's my RB1 in the big auction, so I'm wearing
burn my Patriots jersey.
Heads up to our Minneapolis St. Paul listeners. We'll be at the home opener outside in the cities this weekend, Blister and I, with Auntie Buckets and Mrs. Blister. I'll be wearing the AP jersey deep in the corner of the end zone. I'm not sure which one at the Gopher Stadium there, but we'll be there, home opener with the Vikes and the Pats. Pretty excited about heading down, Blister, so...
Yeah, I know. So is my wife. She can't wait to go to the outlet mall. So
I know.
I'm a little nervous.
Her and my wife were speaking today, and their eyes were glowing.
Planning stuff.
Yeah, it was frightening.
Scary.
They have an express. That's what I heard, and then I tuned it out after that. Anyways, let's move on to segment 3, guys. We're gonna take a look at some waiver wire stuff, and now I'm gonna put in some new intro music because of the Motley Crue weekend that took place on Hair Nation. Was it a couple of weeks ago? Was Motley Crue Radio? Anyways, let's go. We'll go old school with this segment. Segment number 3. We'll call this one the Live Wire. Right, so then I can play some old school Motley Crue behind that. So it's pretty exciting stuff.
Nice.
It's just more for Blister. Hey, he loves that. Hair Nation.
Good old Motley Crue.
Nothing wrong with Motley Crue.
No. And they're on the Fair World Tour, so I figured we might as well pay tribute to them on the pod, right? All right, so during Livewire, we're going to take a look at who the guys are targeting this week on the waiver wire. So why don't we just go back and forth, guys? Slim, let's start with you. Who are you eyeing up this week on the waivers?
Well, I think Isaiah Crowell, if he's still out there, you have to go and try and grab him. We've been suspecting, I guess, that Ben Tate might be limited or ineffective in portions of the year. He showed that in week 1. All of a sudden, Terrence West, who is probably not available in your draft, had a decent game, but then we saw Crowell after that flash of brilliance in week 4 of the preseason. Finally, Cleveland decided to use him. He scored 2 touchdowns this week. And I think everybody knows now that the talent is there. It's just a matter of can he get enough snaps. So, I'm going to roll the dice and take him in a deeper league or, even in a league where I've got, say, 5 running backs. I might look at rostering him with hope that near the end of the year he's the guy. All
right. Blister, who are you looking at on the waivers?
I think one guy you got to look at, especially if you're streaming quarterbacks or maybe if you're stuck with RG3, is Jake Locker. Had a great game last week, and he's at home to Dallas, who is going to struggle to stop anybody, I think, this year. Yes. And he's got Kendall Wright, he's got Justin Hunter. I don't think Sean Green was overly impressive, but Delaney Walker, he's a tight end you might want to look at streaming this week as well. But I just think you might want to follow the Cowboys around this year and play whoever's starting against them. He might be pretty safe, but I can see him having a better game even than he had last week. And I think he put up 24 fantasy points last week or something like that. So I think Jake Locker is a quarterback for you streamers or people unhappy with your starting quarterback.
All right, Slim, who do you got for number 2 waiver wire?
Well, I think Justin Forsett is now a guy. Obviously, there's the mess in Baltimore, and Bernard Pierce sucks, kind of. So I'm not saying Justin Forsett's anything to write home about either, but someone has to run the ball there. And we saw, he had a solid game in week 1 against Cincinnati. So to me, that's just who they trust. The only other guy they really have is a rookie, late round pick, Taliaferro there. But I mean, it seems like Baltimore trusts Forsett over him, which makes sense. So I think they'll run with him. And if Pierce, waivers or gets hurt or is ineffective, then Forsett's the next guy up.
All right. And There's been talk about Forsett. Hey, Blister, already today. We doing a little talk. It's good.
Yeah, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in my game breakdown. I may get to that as well. But well, you might want to look at Brian Quick from St. Louis. Brian Quick had a pretty darn good preseason. Looked really well. He was the only bright spot for the Rams on the weekend. He had just under 100 yards, and he led the team in targets and catches. So, they're going to be behind a lot. They're going to have to throw a lot. Unfortunately, now we're down to a backup of the backup quarterback. I don't think Sean Hill will be playing this week, so it's a little scary. But if you're in a PPR and he's getting 8 or 9 catches in a game, and whatever that is yardage, you're going to be in the mid-teens for fantasy points. So, take a look at him. Grab him if you got room on your bench to put him on there and see how things unfold.
All right. Slim, you got anybody else?
Yeah, Josh Gordon, baby. With this new drug thing that could be coming down the pipe, I mean, I think he's out there in quite a few drafts.
I'll look it up for you on Yahoo.
I'd be running out there to the waiver wire right now and getting him. I mean, you're going to get him for next to nothing, hopefully, and we should know very soon, relatively soon, I guess, if he's going to play or not. And, if you would ask me 2 weeks ago, I would have said, I think probably on this pod I did say, he's not really worth worrying about. But after this new drug testing policy, and I don't know the specifics behind it, but I just kind of getting just a quick little snippet of it, I don't get why the Players Association wouldn't vote for it. So in my mind, I think it's got to happen, and if it does, then to me, Josh Gordon plays. So same with Wes Welker, he's going to play. So then, yeah, he's going to be a hot commodity.
In Yahoo League, Slim, what percentage do you think he's owned in?
20.
No, 52% he's owned right now.
That's not shocking, I guess.
No,
I mean. We've seen in lots of our drafts he goes late. I think Blister, you own him in a pool, don't you?
I think your brother got him for $1 in the auction, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. That could come back to bite us all in the arse.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You don't want to play any team that has all of a sudden you've got this guy. That's like picking up, you're grabbing a guy off waivers that could be the best wide receiver fantasy-wise in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's not if you're an opponent or in that same league. So, yeah, I wouldn't like to see that. Especially in our league, the guy that has him has Calvin Johnson and
no kidding.
That would be
running back.
That could be lights out.
You're right.
Be a very painful experience.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't want to face that every week.
Well, you've already played him, so it won't matter, and you beat him.
I'll play him again then.
Yeah.
Week 12.
That's right.
Going back through. Good. So I'll be right when I'm kind of cling to a playoff spot too.
You never just cling to a playoff spot, do you?
I do whatever I can to get in. You know that.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate it. Blister, what do you got? Do you have anybody else you're targeting?
Well, you might want to take a look at. Well, I was just going to say you could take a look at Allen Hurns. I mean, he had. I think all of his action came in the first half, mostly the first quarter. But I mean, doesn't matter if you're getting that kind of fantasy production out of a player. Who cares if it takes the whole game or if you get it all at once? But 2 touchdowns again. We talked about him prior to the leading receiver in all of preseason. So he's obviously got some good chemistry there. And again, they don't have a strong team. They're probably going to have to throw the ball a fair amount, and they're obviously looking his way. So. Cecil Shorts can't stay on the field. Like Slim said, he's got spaghetti hamstrings, so somebody's got to be the man there. Cooked spaghetti, that's right.
Big difference.
So, yeah. Well, I think the other ones are pretty brittle.
They're still pretty weak, though,
maybe more brittle.
So
that's up for debate. Let's put that into demand.
You're probably right. You might have more flexibility with a cooked noodle.
You might be better off, yeah. So Allen Hurns is another guy to look at for sure.
All right.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, and who do we start? Start with you, Slim. Do you want to go back for another one, or shall we move on?
Let's make a move.
All right. Let's make a move. Let's move on to All right, good. Let's move on to segment number 4, guys. This is where our experts will pick one game that they're excited to watch for fantasy purposes heading into week 2. We call this segment Fantasy Game Breakdown. All right, so who do we get? Yeah, what? What do we really?
I thought we were breaking down a game that just happened.
Oh, no. Moving forward. We'll go to Slim first. Yeah.
I think we'll go to Slim first because I broke down a game that already happened. So there goes that script.
No, yeah, we're going forward, Blister. Always looking forward.
Right,
so let's go to you. What keep you interested in taking a look at this year or this week?
Well, I think this was probably a fairly common one. I was tempted to take the Chicago at San Fran, but I mean I felt like everyone would
too obvious
for doing that. Yeah. So I'll go with Philly and Indy, even though I think this one maybe is even more obvious. Obviously, two pretty, we'll say prolific, I guess, offenses. Even though Indy maybe isn't quite to the level of where Philly is, but I mean at times they can be. We saw Philly get off to a slow start with Jacksonville. You could very well see that again this game. Nick Foles is kind of a notorious slow starter in games, but he always seems to pull it out, or at least
I was scared when
production in the second half.
I thought he wasn't getting back in the game. I heard they're warming up Sanchez. I thought, oh my God, this is killing me. Anyways,
don't worry about that. But no, I mean, obviously there's lots of fantasy implications with this game. I mean, there's the two quarterbacks. You've got maybe the best running back in the NFL in LaShawn McCoy. We saw Darren Sproles get a lot of touches this week. He could very well be, a very solid flex option in this game. Reggie Wayne, kind of the old forgotten one, emerged again. I think he had 98 yards or something, 99, something like that, receiving. And then we got guys like Jeremy Maclin who will start for a lot of teams. Riley Cooper will be in there. Zach Ertz had a good game. Even Dwayne Allen had a good game for Indy. So lots of fantasy implications here for all sorts of things. You're talking stars, you're talking streaming. So yeah, I think this is a game that a lot of people are going to watch, and it's obviously the Monday Nighter. So all eyes will be on it. It's all by itself.
All right. Blister, did you find one?
Sure, Atlanta and Cincinnati.
All right, go for it.
Well, what I like about this, I mean, I got that game wrong. I had New Orleans winning, and Atlanta managed to, fight and claw. I was talking with Slim afterwards. They both have pretty darn good offenses, but I just think New Orleans defense with the Ryan running the show was going to be the difference. But Atlanta found a way to win. Ryan goes for 448 yards, 3 TDs. When it comes to running backs, none of them had a real impressive performance. They threw the ball so much. Like S. Jackson ran it 12 times for 52 yards, so averaged just over 4 yards a carry, 4.3. That's all right. Quiz actually got used a lot more than what we thought. He had 6 carries for 34, so averaging 5.7. And Devontae Freeman didn't see as much action as that. He had a couple carries for 15 yards, I think, and a couple catches. So, Freeman is the guy you kind of still want to keep an eye on, but I think that this offense, I mean, it's pretty high-powered. And if the defense continues to be the defense we think it is, they're going to have to continue to, stay with their foot on the gas pedal all the way through. So that's great for Julio. Roddy White, Julio almost found the end zone, but then he got the ball stripped from behind. But 7 catches for 116 yards. Roddy White 5 for 72 and a touchdown. And Harry Douglas is another guy you might want to look at for your waiver wire. PPR, he had 6 grabs for 69 yards. He's not going to go away. I think he's probably going to be the guy. He's probably going to be around that mark quite a bit. I mean, without Tony Gonzalez this year, I think he's going to be one of the guys that Ryan's going to look to a little more often. We know Julio's a big stud and Roddy is, but Harry had a lot of time last year where he got to establish himself with Matt Ryan, build up his trust, build up their timing and everything like that. So if you need a receiver and he's on your waiver wire, go get him, especially in a PPR. Julio and Roddy are going to get the most attention, but Harry Douglas is going to get there. I mean, he had 1 more catch than Roddy, 3 less yards. The only difference was he didn't find the end zone. So he's going to be a guy you can play regularly. Cincinnati on the other side of the ball, that they're at home. Again, there's a lot of people concerned about the offense. There was some talk in drafts and auctions and maybe that, there's no doubt A.J. Green is a stud receiver, but some people were worried about the new offense. They'd be more run heavy, and A.J. would be perhaps not as effective as some of the other elite receivers, and he still went 6 catches for 131 yards and a touchdown. He should be in line. Again, both these defenses, the defense that they have now in Cincinnati isn't as, maybe it's not as good as they have been in the past. They had some changes there and changed things up. I think both Matt Ryan and Andy Dalton could be in for good games this week. The stud receivers have an opportunity to shine. Gio Bernard, he only rushed for 48 yards last week, 3.5 or 3.4 yards per carry, but he had 6 catches to add 62 yards onto that. So he didn't find the end zone. One of the surprises, I guess you could say, was Jeremy Hill. There's all this talk that they cut Ben Jarvis Green Ellis. There's all the talk that Jeremy Hill is going to, maybe be cutting into Gio's workload, but much like I guess probably some of the disappointment last year, Gio was kind of eased into everything, and they certainly didn't throw Hill out there a lot. He had 4 carries. He averaged 4.8 yards a carry, which is pretty good. But, he's a guy that some people probably have on their bench. I mean, you better hang on to him. He's one big hit away from having to play full-time without the law firm around there. But he didn't use them a whole lot. Tyler Eifert, dislocated his elbow. I don't know what the extent or how long he'll be out for. Mohamed Sanu had 4 grabs for 36. He's a guy that's kind of been picking up some of Marvin Jones' slack while Marvin Jones is out. Had a pretty good preseason, but other than that, 36 yards isn't great. But I just think that this week, for this particular game, there's some really big names in there, some real star potential, and it could potentially be another high-scoring game like the one they had with New Orleans. So there'll be some great guys in here for fantasy matchups, whether it's your daily ones or whatever. There's some guys to target.
All right, so that was segment 4, Fantasy Game Breakdown. Guys, let's move into segment number 5. Segment number 5 is called This is the Man. So in This is the Man, we pit expert against expert as they compete in a year-long contest predicting which player will score more fantasy points during the week. Now, the guys have no idea who's on the list. I put the list up, actually in the last couple of minutes here, so this is a gut reaction for them. We're going to keep the score all year long, and we're going to see who is the man. Who was the man last year, Blister?
I was the man.
You were the man.
Thank you very much.
All right.
I was the man.
So when we do this, I really try to find guys that are on the bubble. You're running back, 2s and maybe 3s, streaming quarterbacks. We run a flex in there too. So not the obvious guys like who's going to be, Jamal Charles or LaShawn McCoy. Who cares? If you have one of them, you're playing them. This is more those bubble guys. Which guy on your bench are you more apt to play? So let's take a look at the quarterback position. Slim losers are up. Sorry, this is when it does get fun, though. I know, I apologize. No, I don't. Anyways, Slim, let's take a look at quarterback position. Ryan Tannehill is playing at Buffalo, or RG3, who is hosting Jacksonville. Who do you have this week?
I'm going to take RG3. I mean, we saw how crap he looked in the preseason. Actually, the Washington offense didn't do too bad against Houston. They just had some really untimely turnovers. They got down deep. They moved the ball, and then they just coughed it up in the red zone multiple times. And that killed them. So, I think they can still move the ball. It's going to be a little, Jacksonville's got a tough D as well. But, I mean, if they can limit those mistakes, then to me there's no reason why he can't improve on what he did last week.
God, I hope so. My dynasty quarterback. Blister, who do you got, Tannehill or Griffin?
I'll switch it up right off the bat this year. I'll go with Ryan Tannehill. I think RG3, I hope Slim's right too. We have him in our big money league, and we need him to bounce back in a big way. But Tannehill just seems to be looking a little better right now. He ended up last year, what was he, a top 10 or was he 11th ranked quarterback in fantasy last year, which everyone, that's hard to believe, but based on, his ability to do it, already pulled out a win against New England, I think that he should be in for another good game.
Okay, Blister, we'll go to you for the next one. just conveniently actually, Ryan Matthews, who is hosting Seattle Seahawks, or Justin Forsett as they host the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I'm going to go here. I'll probably go wide here too, and I'm going to take Justin Forsett. When we were talking about players to pick up and things to target, I was going to get into that later because I was going to break down the Baltimore game from the past week. And you know, I'm a Bernard Pierce owner and now a hater. He might have took over my hate. I might like Ryan Matthews more than him right now. So I think you know, I remember when Bernard Pierce had opportunities to play before too, and he didn't do anything with it. And I just think the coaching staff has seen enough, or not enough from him, but enough to be disgusted in him. I think Forsett gets the ball for the near future until they have Lorenzo Taliaferro ready to go, and so I think he's going to get a lot of touches. Matthews in that Seattle D scares me a little, so I'll go with Forsett.
Okay, so Slim, what about you? Ryan Matthews in the yellow boots or Forsett?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Forsett. I think both guys could share touches with other running backs. So I'm going to take the guy that's not going against Seattle defense if they're both going to share touches.
So I put this one on the board for the sole reason that guys are probably thinking, maybe I'll play Matthews in my flex. They're playing Seattle, and maybe I picked up somebody off the waivers. So I thought it's a real life call. All right, let's move on to the running back position, or stay with the running back position. Sorry, Slim. We're going to go to you next, or still. Shane Vereen at Minnesota, Blaster, or Pierre Thomas at Cleveland?
I'm going to go with Vereen. I mean, the thing that scares me with New England is the flavor of the week type thing that they do. But, you know, Vereen, I think, was
you
in
love
on
him this
like
year,
seven.
Though, right?
I don't know why you wouldn't. I
know, but I mean, you have been high on him since day one. So
I have.
I like that you stick with it.
And he scored a touchdown last week. He was in on 70% of the snaps, and Ridley didn't do too much when he wasn't in. So I don't get why the Patriots would think about using Vereen any less than what they did. So, and Pierre Thomas, I mean, we know the three-headed monster that they have in New Orleans. So I just think Vereen gets more snaps and more opportunity.
All right. Blister, what about you, Vereen or Thomas?
I'll go with Slim on this one. It's a tough call because in both situations, you know, if we're talking PPR, we have to clarify. Are we doing PPR this year?
Yeah, we're doing PPR.
Like, Thomas is a nice play. I think out of all the running backs in New Orleans, he's probably about the safest one from week to week because he'll probably get those 5 or 6 catches every game, and you never know what the other two will do with what the opportunities they get. Kyrie Robinson really didn't have a lot of touches, but he got to punch one into the end zone this past week. But I'll go with the same kind of ideology as Slim there. Really didn't look that great.
Nice work.
Vereen did well. He punched one in. So let's go, and then I can cheer for him while we're down a mini.
There you go. Blister, we're going to stay with you. Moving to the wide receiver position, Reggie Wayne hosting the Philadelphia Eagles, or Eric Decker at the Green Bay Packers.
I'll go with Reggie Wayne. I think that game's going to be a bit of a shootout as well. And Wayne looked pretty good the other night there. So I'll take Wayne. Eric Decker, Jets going to Green Bay. It could be a surprising outcome, but I think Green Bay is going to be all over them.
All right, someone about you, Decker or Wayne?
Well, I'm going to go with Decker just because I think Green Bay will be all over them. I think this could be potential for a blowout, which could mean a lot of targets for Decker. And, you know, I'm just hoping. I like both plays this week. I think they're both fairly even plays this week. So I'm kind of torn on the fence, but I'm going to go with Decker. I have him ranked slightly ahead of Reggie, and I'm just hoping for more targets.
All right, second wide receiver, Slim, Anquan Bolden hosting the Chicago Bears, or Terrence Williams as they go to Tennessee.
Well, we saw in the Dallas game, Bolden had a good game. You know, I think it's going to be one of those things teams are going to have to, and I haven't gone back and watched it again. I don't know if Dallas was consciously trying to take Crabtree out of the game, but we saw them get burned by Vernon Davis because of it. And Bolden had many big catches. I kind of think that something like that could happen again this week. To me, Bolden is just so reliable. It's actually fun. I really enjoy watching him play because the guy is not scared of contact. He goes into the worst spots. He makes everything every catch. And he loves the contact. I love receivers like that, and I just think he has again more targets than Terrence Williams might get against Tennessee.
Anybody that can get their jaw crushed and then come in the next week, that's
I love guys. I really do. Like, it's just that's a guy I want on my team. It's just tough as nails, man.
That's a football player. Blister, what about you? You taking the football player or the other guy?
I'm taking Bolden. I'm taking Bolden as well.
All right.
I'll take Bolden, yeah.
All right. So Blister's taking Bolden. Let me put that down, or Blissy here. Anyways, okay, let's move on. Tight end position, guys. Blister, it's coming to you this time. Dwayne Allen at the Eagles or Charles Clay at Buffalo? Sorry, Dwayne Allen hosting the Eagles.
I'm going to take Dwayne Allen in this one. I think that he's the more reliable tight end. I think that's going to be a bit of a higher scoring game. So just because of that, I think that he has more chance to maybe find the end zone and make a few more grabs than Charles does.
All right, and Slim, this is one of those kind of streaming ideas. Who are you taking, Clay or Allen?
Well, I agree with everything Blister says, and I want to do it, but I have Clay ahead of Allen in my rankings, so right now I'm going to stick with my rankings. I don't dislike Clay. I think he's just a safe, unflashy, kind of consistently get 50, 60 type yards kind of guy. To me, Allen has way better ceiling this week, but like I said, I'm gonna stick to the rankings this week and roll with it.
All right, Slim, let's take a look at the flex position. DeAndre Hopkins at Oakland or Joique Bell, who did a terrible Lambeau leap there. He had to put the foot up on the backstop and climb up, and then he did this poor wave.
I was actually going to tweet or even wait until if we did a little segment this week. I felt so bad for those guys sitting in that front row having to stand there with Joique Bell Schwartz in their face for 10 seconds. I'm like, these poor guys, they get down, big smile on his face still. I don't know, but I would have been like, okay, buddy, get the hell out of here, man. I don't need this silver bulge right in my grill, but...
Anyways, Hopkins at Oakland or Bell at Carolina?
You know what? Hopkins, huge game this week. It was awesome to see, but I mean, it came on one big play. Again, I just think the quarterback play there is just going to limit him so much. So I'm going to take Bell. I just feel like he'll have way more opportunity, even though he's going against a tougher defense than Hopkins will against Oakland.
Okay, Blister, what about you? Hopkins or Bell?
I'm going to go the same way. I think, like Slim said, most of that yardage came on one big play. It's such a scary quarterback situation. I mean, the Carolina defense was better than I was going to give them credit for, but I just think that offense in Detroit is going to be good enough to give him more opportunity to score and to get touches.
All right, and finally, let's take a look at the DST. I often try to find one where they're playing against each other just so it's easy. Anyways, Blister, it's your turn. The Jaguars at Washington or Washington hosting the Jags?
Yuck. Both.
Yes.
That was
don't excite me.
I hate. Oh my God.
It's terrible.
If you have to stream these defenses, I feel awful for you because I would not even want to check my roster this weekend, and the games are going on if these are my defenses.
If that's what it is.
Defense. Yeah. That Jags defense has been playing pretty good, but I'm going to go with the home team here. They got more offensive weapons to potentially they could, if you based it on the other team's offense, Washington should be better than the Jags. So let's give the home team the nod here. Give the Redskins. All
right, one for the Skins. How about you, Slim?
Well, I'm going to go with the Jags, and I'm only doing it because if I was to look at both these secondaries on paper, I feel like the Jags have a better chance of securing some turnovers. And we saw the Redskins kind of cough it up a little bit last week. So as far as points go, I don't really care. I'm just kind of looking at who's going to get more sacks, who can have more potential picks, and I just feel like the slight edges to Jacksonville. But I mean, to me, this one's either way, and they both suck.
Well, and what's funny is when I do This Is the Man, I go through a few different websites to take a look at a few different experts, not just you guys, so that we can try to have this to be a tight battle. And one competitor website, Jags at 13 and Skins at 15. Another expert has the Jags at 16 and the Skins at 18. So very much streaming-ish levels, right? So that's why I went there. I knew it was gross, though. It is just gross in general. But I mean, I looked at the waiver, and I'm a DST streamer, and the Jags are one of those higher ranked guys or teams you take a look at. So
yeah, no, it is.
It's gross, though. It is gross. It is gross. Okay, so anyways, let's recap. This is the man for week 1, guys. Blister's taking Tannehill, and Slim is taking RG3. Both guys are taking Justin Forsett over Ryan Matthews. Both of them are taking Shane Vereen over Pierre Thomas. Blister has Reggie Wayne over Slim's Eric Decker. Both guys are taking Anquan Bolden over Terrence Williams this week. Blister is taking Dwayne Allen, and Slim is following his rankings and sticking with Charles Clay. Both guys are taking Joique Bell over DeAndre Hopkins. Slim's got the Jags. Blister has the Redskins. That actually sounded like a class I've had in grade 9 health. Slim has the Jags and Blister has the Redskins. I'm just throwing that out there. No?
That ain't good.
Better be careful.
I know, I'm sorry. All right, so that was This Is the Man. Guys, we're hovering, getting close to that hour mark. I was half thinking about doing Killing in the Name of. Are you guys prepared for that, or?
I just did mine with the Joique Bell.
Okay. All right.
Climbing.
Blister, is there anything you would like to kill in the name of fantasy football? I'm sorry, I'm putting you on the spot. I didn't have it on the script. I just saw that we ripped through this in record time for us.
Trying to fix my rankings now.
That's what you're killing in the name of fantasy football, is that we don't do this.
In the name of my doing a shitty job with my rankings, because I wait till the last minute and then I rush through it and plug in all these numbers and I look back and say, what? That's not right. So I guess it should be myself, because I have to put more time into doing this. I'll get it dialed in here in the next couple of days. So hopefully, if you're doing your dailies or you're setting your lineup,
it's only Tuesday. Well, Wednesday by the time you're starting to listen to it, I guess.
It'll be interesting this week to see how many of these guys that got dinged up on the last weekend and what their playing status is going to be for this coming up weekend, because it's gonna, if you're in a daily fantasy pool and Ben Tate's out and you can grab Terrence West, who's going to be really cheap in most of them, it'll be a nice play. But if you grab them and then plug them in and then find out Tate comes and plays, you're pretty much giving away your money probably. So it'll be interesting to stay on top of all those things.
Blister, I forgot to ask, how was our high stakes team?
The ECL one, or
no,
the 250 one?
Yeah.
It was one of the worst teams in the league.
Good. Well,
yeah, I think maybe 9th or 10th.
RG3.
10th out of 12. Yeah.
Who else?
We didn't have I don't think we had a terrible team. But
Saints defense blew for us.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a few waiver wire claims in right now. Let me just pull it up here.
Keenan Allen was a plug.
Yeah,
he's going to be
for sure.
Keenan Allen is not so great this week either. We ended up 12, and we were 9th. Well, wait a minute. That doesn't. Just a second. Maybe we weren't that bad.
We just actually lost a viewer while you said, "Wait a sec."
We're sitting in 7th.
Saw that on the board.
We're sitting in 7th. Let me just pull up the scoreboard here. I want to go to week 1. We played a team this week.
I lost in the fish bowl to one of the fantasy football chicks. That hurt. Just saying, but she had Julius Thomas, so
yeah.
Wow, I played Julius Thomas. Well, I felt like goddamn in every week, pretty much. Oh my.
Yeah, I did too. And
good.
I guess it's when your Matt Bryant is your highest fantasy contributor in a week. That's probably not a good thing.
No.
Who did we get really dumped on?
I pulled off a W this week. That was good in that fishbowl.
Nice.
I won in the fishbowl as well. I have a big matchup this week with none other than FF Magic Man himself, Micah James.
Yes.
So it'd be a nice one to win. Here, I'm just looking up the high stakes one here.
No,
Robert Griffin.
Sorry, go. Yeah.
Ryan Matthews got 14 points first. Monty Ball 16.5. Marcus Colston got 16. Michael Crabtree only got 4.5.
Yeah.
Alshon Jeffrey got 12.1. Keenan Allen got 8. Zach Ertz 16.7. Matt Bryant 18.3. And the Saints D was 3. The best player on our bench, we had a couple of good ones on our bench. Greg Jennings had 17.8. Andrew Hawkins 16.7. Stefan Taylor even had 11.6.
We scored, yeah.
Get rid of it.
He scored.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came in there.
Yeah, if we would have could have had those 2 receivers in, and that would have improved us by 12, 28, 16 points. We would have been a contender. But oh well. It's a new week.
Confidence pool. I win it for the week, so that was good. In the big, what is it, about a 45 manner, Slim?
52 or 53 or something. It's over 50.
Got my money back already week 1, so that's good. Everything else is house money, so that's good. And hey, Blister, I was going to say you should hit up the Magic Man, a little side bet.
Side bet.
The loser goes on the other pod.
I thought you were going to say Uncle Barry there. I
Sorry, Gibson just fell off his chair. Anyways. Not Serena Williams. Oh, no, sorry, a Russian tennis player. Sorry.
I had messaged him just on this message board that I think everybody in the league might be able to see.
Oh yeah.
I don't think he read it or he said like screw them guys. But he'll know my name this week when I lay the stomps to him. But just kidding. You know what I did last week?
Shots fired.
Yeah. I actually had a pretty good week last week too. He ended up with 203 fantasy points last week. I had 191 in that league.
Not too shabby. You're breaking the 2 bill mark. You're doing okay.
Yeah.
I gotta check out his team real quick here.
I was only at 160 or something, 170.
Yeah, I was ugly.
Oh, he could be better this week. He had Aaron Rodgers as one of his quarterbacks, and he didn't get 12 points out of him. So Aaron Rodgers and Cap. Probably started Ingram and Jennings, Shane Vereen maybe, AJ Green as a receiver, Roddy White, not bad. Yeah. Dennis Pitta. Oh, Julius Thomas. That's why he had such a...
There it is.
That'll balance out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's only week 1. It's only week 1. All right.
My receivers are good, though. I got to go through them real quick. This is a beautiful team. Okay. Andy Dalton was my quarterback, and Josh McCollum, but it might be E.J. Manuel this week. Matt Forte was my best running back, and Ben Tate did nothing. Isaiah Crowell was on my bench. He was the second best. And then for receivers, I ran Julian Edelman, Brandon Marshall, Jordy Nelson, Steve Smith, and Golden Tate. They were all huge. Smith Golden Tate was the lowest one at 15.9. Steve Smith was the highest at 24.8. Zach Ertz was my tight end, and Keith Miller.
Nice.
Team.
I
got Josh Gordon just waiting.
Blister, just have to give the shout out to the Boston Pizza Draft because we talked about going last week. The 10-man, I felt guilty walking out of there. You asked me during the draft, is there an opposite scoring system, something we don't know?
It's a bizarre league.
Well, it's true. And so, unfortunately, the Gong Show, that was the setup, I guess. It didn't get set up for this week, so I'm ready to roll for week 2. Looked at the Yahoo report card, Blister, I got an A+. It said you might as well just write your ticket for a league championship, I think was the comment.
I got an A+2.
Jamal Charles, DeMarco Murray, Demaryius Thomas, Des Bryant, Gronk. The 10-man.
It's embarrassing that you're telling people this, that you as an expert, right?
Yes. Was in that type of league?
Noobs like this.
Yeah, I know.
Like, this is just like taking literally.
I know.
candy
But you
from
know
a
what? This is the thing. This is the thing I don't understand. And I'll do a killing in the name of fantasy football. I knew there might be noobs there, and that's fine. So we made sure. I mean, it's at a local bar. They're trying to get people to come in to watch some football. Fantasy's a good way to do it. So I said, you got to have for some of those new guys, print off the rankings, so that these guys.
So Adrian Robinson isn't drafted in the 3rd round.
Yeah, well, so the rankings are there in front of them. By position, right? By position. And I look at Blister. We're coming into the end of round 4, and I said, I'm waiting on Gronk. He already had Jimmy Graham, and I'm like, I'm waiting on Gronk. And all of a sudden there was a run of tight ends, and Gronk was still available coming back to me.
I think about 8 tight ends had gone. Gronk might have been the 8th or 9th tight end off the board.
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm embarrassed for these people. I'm not like.
I was starting to feel guilty because I didn't want to seem too excited by my team, but I was like, really?
And I like your team. I picked right after you. You were 7, I was 8. Snake draft, reverse snake, and the way things fell into your lap it was
like Des Bryant in the 3rd or whatever. Like how that's stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah, it's a 10-man league. 10-man leagues, your team looks good, but you still should never.
It was like I was in a 6-man. That's
how
what
do you
I was.
Jamal Charles at the 7th overall?
Because there was 3 quarterbacks that went.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah. Jamal Charles and DeMarco and Gronk and DT and Dez. And then it's a 3-man bench, right? So it's a really, really.
Won't even go into that now.
And then Andre Johnson, Doug Martin, and Andy Dalton, because I have Cam as my quarterback. But it's still like, I don't know. It was too easy. I'm like, really, we're in like what round 10 Blister? And I'm like, is Doug Martin really still there to be on my bench?
We should run one for the next year.
I know, but we gave them the rankings. The guys were sitting there with all of us. One of the guys is a sports reporter.
Yeah, well, let's use that one loosely.
Wow, he does write for the local rag. I mean, he does a good job covering high school sports. Let's give him that.
Oh, yeah.
Beg to differ. Anyway, that's for later on.
How about, hold on, I'll recant. I'll say he covers high school sports.
Wow. Yeah, I guess. Technically. We can talk about that off the air. But,
all right.
I mean, I just think, why don't we just run it?
Yeah.
At least we wouldn't set it up with a 3-man bench.
Yeah.
Oh.
No waiver wire.
And there'd be waivers. Like, how is there no waiver? What is this? Like, are we doing this through USA Today, like in the 70s?
I think that's when they set it up. That's they have like zero.
Have you heard of a thing called the internet?
No. The thing is, like,
it's new, I know, but
the website will track all the.
You still have a Motorola Star.
I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. The comment was a website will actually track all the stats for you.
No.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Sorry, I almost actually choked. What?
That's why I think they went with the 3-man bench, because they thought it's going to be just too much work for somebody to, manage the stats and change the lineups and do this and do that.
Well, and so we were going to have to email.
I would have walked out when I heard that.
We were going to have to email every week our lineup. Who we wanted in our lineup, and Blitz was like, well, why don't we just do it on the website? Why don't we just manage our own rosters?
Oh my god.
And
there you go.
I felt guilty. But when there was prizes on the, you got to go for it. Yeah, what's that?
I use the computer for a living.
Yeah. Sports reporter.
Like, what's wrong with this picture? Like, I just don't. Anyway. Oh, whatever.
I don't know. Hey, they're new to fantasy football. I was happy that more people were getting involved.
I looked at all the teams. They don't look that bad. All the teams aren't too bad, They're still not that bad. Like, you got, I can't remember. One guy's lineup was Michael Floyd, Kenny, Wright,
but you're used to
and somebody else.
You're used to
Right,
looking
they're
at
not-
12 and
that's-
14 team
Yeah.
leagues too. So you look at those teams, and you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, not too bad. But then when you look at the two teams you drafted in comparison, it's like, really?
Yeah.
Is this a dynasty
But
or
then
something?
half of my team got hurt. Well, Ellington ended up playing. Eddie
Yeah.
Lacy got hurt. Alshon Jeffrey was hurt. I think 3 or 4 of my guys were
Yeah.
banged up.
They're not gonna be.
I hope they don't miss any
Ellington,
time.
maybe not. But
Slim's gonna lose sleep over this now. They're looking. He's
can't
rubbing
believe
his head.
you
He's.
guys told me this before, but it's just
I
I kind
can't
of
believe it's I can't believe it's $1,000 for first place. That part kills me.
Wow, there's $1,000 in prizes, if I recall. Let's get it clear, because there's
That's not a bad
$1,000.
league.
Not a bad league. If there's any prize in this league, I'm happy with it.
Are they gonna give? Is this like minor sports? Everyone gets a prize, like 1,000 to someone.
hope
It's
so.
still a decent
badge.
payday.
I participated in fantasy football.
Well, did they? I don't even know if they did technically. Anyway,
Well, how about this? They learned about fantasy football.
Yeah. And then
I don't know.
Watching
We'll see.
17 weeks from now when
Well, yeah, we just got pumped.
we end up like 7th and 8th. I lose to Smash Lee and you lose to Greg. It's like
if you guys, oh, man.
podcast
we
over.
gotta follow this. We gotta follow this weekly.
Well, see, and the thing is there isn't any waivers, so any injury could really.
Well,
That's true.
there'll be
I guess.
people.
Yeah, that is true. I guess so.
The
Yeah.
other
it doesn't
thing,
really,
too,
it's all
is-
about luck now, really.
Yeah,
Really,
Week one never happened. Okay.
that's
You know
right.
that,
Well,
Bex?
week one didn't happen. Yeah, I know. So we're supposed to just
Week one
subtract
didn't
and add. Yeah. I know.
Week 2 isn't going to happen unless Joey. I talked to him today. Said, "Are you okay with me? Like, it's the way it's set up now. It's not going to start up till week 3, and unless you don't mind me just making up the matchup." So I don't understand.
Making up
why.
the matchups. It should just set schedule for you. Did he not
For
click
some-
on
for
schedule on the website and then?
let's just end this.
I don't know. So I mean, but I don't know. So
Sorry,
This is
I was-
Friday. I
we were
have to
gonna-
get drunk now, but I
we
gotta
were
work.
gonna
till
we were
one,
gonna
so-
skip killing in the name of, and I think we just officially killed in the name of.
I hope that.
Yeah.
Well, look, one positive though, I never lost in that
I just
league.
love that we're on camera and like Slim, like he hasn't opened his eyes in like at least a couple of minutes. His head's been down.
Well, they're open. They've just been rubbing. Yeah, the head's down. I don't know. I should have put the camera up.
I want to win a
I
pizza.
kind of forgot it was on.
You want to
This is
order
definitely-
pizza? All right, I'm coming over.
I
You
wanna-
got beer?
I want to win one in this
Oh.
league.
Win a pizza? Wow. I hope we can at least win a pizza.
If you guys don't win at least a wheel, I was gonna say I'm quitting
say
this
it's-
podcast.
You heard it here first, folks. If we don't win a wheel, Dale, if you're listening,
It's
$1,000
at least a wheel. At least a
oh, at
wheel.
least a wheel. Oh wow, stakes are high.
That's only like 3 suppers at $1,000 in prizes. Only about 3-4 suppers at
Oh,
BP.
no.
Not that exciting. We're getting cash.
There goes our sponsorship deal. You gotta cut this out of the actual pod.
It's the best. It's
It's
awesome.
been 25 minutes of just ripping on.
It's good banter. Okay, anyways, so let's sign off. Let's go to Slim Whitman. Slim, we'll see you on TV when Kyle Rudolph, well, actually, when Gronk does the leap into our into the corner of our
I
end
hope
zone,
so.
right?
That'd be good for me.
Right there. A big forearm cast right into the face.
Boom. Just so long as he's not standing on the rail in front of us. I don't want that part of it.
Not
Like, I don't
good.
want the
Just
joint
might not
bell.
let him go.
I don't want him to
Your
ring
wives
the.
might like that.
I don't want him to ring the
Our wives
bell.
might
If you
hang
know what
on.
I mean? Yeah. They might be in Vegas next week with him. And
Yeah.
Blister, I guess I'll
I'm like
see
going to
you
Vegas.
at
I'm
the-
going to Fort Francis from now on, he'll be saying.
Blister, I will see you Friday at the big meeting before the road trip.
Alright.
Yeah, and
yeah,
for the
good meeting.
rest of you, I'll see you when it's springtime in the Rockies.